He gets hampered late on. Declaration of War, who won at Queen Anne, he comes through and picks up second place, and he comes off third best. But really strong form. We know how good Al Kazim is, who'd also beat him at Royal Ascot. So very good form. He likes quick ground. We suspect similar tactics will be adopted by Paul Hannigan. There doesn't appear to be any other natural front runner, so I assume Paul will get on with things and see how he gets on.
And he would have been close to Al Kazim there, and he was only a neck behind Roger Charlton's Star Horse the time before in the Prince of Wales. Well, there's no Al Kazim in this lineup. There is Grandeur, but like I say, I know he's won a Hollywood Turf Cup, but he's got to give £3 to Mukhadram. That's asking too much, isn't it?
Well, that makes it tough, doesn't it? He's £10 behind on official BHA ratings, and he's got to concede £3. He's been a very good horse for Jeremy Nacida. 6 wins from 13 outings. Had a spell in America. Did well out there. He won 2 from 3. He's got his Group 2 penalty to carry. But I thought it was a pleasing start to his season back in the UK. He got tired late on. That was fully understandable. But that was a mile and a half. I think a strongly run mile and a quarter won't be a problem at all.
Now, what about there? You can see that run behind Universal, who just wound it up from the front. Arzima was in second. He tracked the winner. There's always been tendencies to be a front runner's bias this year on that track, hasn't there? Certainly over that sort of a trip. The winner's impressive. He always finds more. But was Grandeur really upset or unsuited by being held up this day?
I don't think it was about that. I think it was his first run back, first run since the middle of December. He's entitled to improve. By all accounts, he has improved a lot. The winner's improving all the time. Universal, he's won 4 times this year, and he runs in the King George this afternoon. So no disgrace in this. He's beaten less than 5 lengths, but he's had the run under his belt now. Frankie Dettori on board, strongly run mile and a quarter. I think everything's ideal.
Well, Jeremy Nacita's just had a winner at Ascot, our producer's telling us. This Grandeur, he's got the Arlington Million as his main aim on the 17th of August. Wigmore Hall, who was in that footage you've seen, his trainer said afterwards, will be better for that run. He's got Canada on his agenda in the autumn. And what about the Apache, another one that's bound for the Arlington Million?
Well, he's an intriguing runner because we just don't know how good he is sort of in the UK. Some very good form since he's joined Mike de Kock. 3 runs in Meydan. He won a Group 2, and then he bumped into Sadjar on a couple of occasions. They were both Group 1s, the Jebel Hatter and the Dubai Duty Free last time out. He had Geoffrey behind him that day, who's been third in the Falmers. It is very good, strong form, but we've seen a lot of the stables runners. They do extremely well in Meydan. They run okay when they come over here, but they don't always carry it on and show the same level of form.
Horses are great at reproducing York form at York, and last year's winner Sri Putra, I know he's not been in grand form of late, but his trainer Roger Varian said he's in as good a bit of form at home as he was 12 months ago.
Yeah, that was an encouraging comment, and Roger had the Group 3 winner at Ascot this afternoon, so he's in good form. Sri Putra, the hood and the blinkers are back on today. That appears to be important for him. He beat Afser in this race 12 months ago. The only thing I would say, his 2 prep runs this season haven't been anywhere near as good as they were, say, 12 months ago. I think he was 5th in the Prince of Wales, 7th in an Eclipse. 2 runs this year. He was beaten 15.5 lengths in the Group 3, and he was beaten last time out 20 lengths in the listed race. So that isn't as good a level of form as it was last year.
We both think it's fascinating to see how King George River runs here. He's the only 3-year-old in the lineup, and he was behind Intello. Yes, he was beaten over 3 lengths behind the subsequent French Derby winner. He had no chance of beating him that day, but he was 7 lengths clear. How relevant is that run behind Intello, given that he was firmly put in his place?
Well, it was a very good run, whichever way you look at it. He was surrounded by good horses. Intello, he was a class apart, and he's won a French Derby and he's won another group race since. But the third, Gloria Waits, whichever way you look at it, he was 7 lengths behind King George River. He's been second in the 2,000 Guineas, 5th in the St James's Palace. You take that literally, he's not totally out of this. You've only had one 3-year-old winner of this race. You're going back to Best Alibi, I think 2006. So it tends to go to the older horses, but it is possible.
4-9 is the price of the favourite Mukhadram then, and the horses are going behind the stalls. Would you just sit this one out and enjoy then, Mark?
I would, from a betting point of view, yeah. I hope Mukhadram wins and he comes back for the International, but he's 4-9. Do you have to get involved, really? If he backs up Sandown, backs up Royal Ascot, he'll win.
Is there any potential of a messy race given the small field?
I don't think Paul Hannigan will allow that to happen, will he? Because he's led on all 3 runs this season. Why would he want to change things? He'll want a decent gallop. So I think it's in Paul's hands. I think he'll get on with things. I think Grandeur, I think the betting's probably right. I think he'll improve a lot for Newmarket, and he could be a threat. But his form is nowhere near as good as the favourite.
£100,000 on offer in this feature Sky Bet York Stakes. Then the 255 at York. Horses going into the stalls. We've got an odds-on favourite, Mukhadram. Can he get recompense for that defeat at Sandown last time out, and indeed the near miss in the Prince of Wales at Royal Ascot as well, both behind the mighty Al Kazim. 2 to load. Without further ado, for the feature we go back to Mark Johnson.
King George River to complete the line, the winners of 33 races in the gate, and they're off in the Sky Bet York Stakes Group 2. And as they break away, it is Mukhadram who immediately goes and gets the early lead. Grandeur, far more prominent than he usually is in his races, to the inside, but restrained by Frankidatori, with the Apache around the outside with the white bridle, and between horses Sri Putra, as Grandeur now has been shuffled back to 4th position as they take their first dogleg turn. King George River then towards the outside, and Wigmore Hall and Willie Twiston Davis at the back of the field of 6 as they make their way down the back and on towards the final mile. And the leader is Mukhadram and Paul Hannigan. They're out in front by 2.5 lengths to the Apache and Pat Cosgrave towards the outside of last year's winner Sri Putra in the hands of Robert Winston. Now King George River makes an early move with Freddie Talitsky to the outside of the grey, Grandeur and Frankidatori, and still waiting at the back of the field is Wigmore Hall as they make the turn and going towards the halfway point of the 8th running of the Sky Bet York Stakes, and Mukhadram has got the lead. Keen on the engine, he leads by 1.5 lengths. Sri Putra to the inside now, just noses into second. The Apache is in third. King George River goes 3 wide into the straight with Wigmore Hall, the pink, to the inside, and Grandeur now, as they shuffle the pack, is just at the back of the field. They've got less than a half mile to go in the York Stakes, and the leader is Mukhadram, and he's bossed this race so far by 1.5 lengths. Sri Putra and then King George River towards the outside. Wigmore Hall now begins to get interested towards the far right, the Apache, and on the left is Grandeur as they race now with 1/4 mile to go, and Mukhadram is out in front, but he has a race on his hooves now. Wigmore Hall towards the far side, Grandeur and Frankidatori towards the near side with a withering run inside the final furlong. Mukhadram now is all out. Grandeur comes up alongside, there's a half length between them. Mukhadram is digging deep. Mukhadram still leads over Grandeur and racing to the line. Mukhadram wins the York Stakes. Grandeur ran well in second, and in third Wigmore Hall. The Apache filled out 4th.
A few more grey hairs for supporters of this favourite Mukhadram, and hearts in mouths for his supporters at various stages of this 4 to 9 favourite, the Sky Bet York Stakes. It's £100,000 in the bag, but it was hard work because nothing really went ideally for this winner. Yes, he set it up and he went his own pace. He went faster than his own pace, really, than his jockey would like. He a wee bit keen, went a bit wide round the bend, and he was warm down the neck, strongly pressed. I think he wanted to fill him up again after those early exertions, and he was strongly pressed by Grandeur, who's come on from that reappearance.
He has, yeah. He's come on markedly for his reappearance at Newmarket, but all right, he's a 4 to 9 shot, and he may not have won like a 4 to 9 shot, but I thought it was a good performance because he clearly was keen enough down that back straight. He hung on one of the bends, he got warm, you could see down his neck as well, and he's had to dig deep, hasn't he? Because he's had challenges either side. He's had one last challenge from Grandeur, but Wigmore Hall loomed up, the South African runner, the Apache as well, even King George River. I thought it was a decent effort.
Grandeur, as Mark said in commentary, he was a wee bit more prominent than ideal at the start, and you can see Frankie doesn't want to be there. He's easing him right back, and on the front he's a bit keen for his own good, this favourite, isn't he? And you can see Hannigan's just trying to get him to drop the bit.
Yeah, I think Paul was obviously keen to get to the front and then try and pull him up in front and try and dictate things, but the horse just naturally seems to want to get on with things. He, as I say, got a bit warm early on. We'll see going around one of the bends, he just hangs out to his right as well, and to have done all that, all right, it might not be outstanding company in behind, but still